like that. We all stand for the invocation of the pledge. Nancy?
Father God, we come before you tonight asking for your wisdom, knowledge, and discernment for those representing us to know your will for Princetown. We ask your peace and unity that only you can give. Thank you for working your will in our town. Bless those who represent us and their families. We pray, as your word says, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. We declare this for our town. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
We remain standing for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America. Amen.
Okay, we'll call the town board meeting at 7:06. Sandy, could you please read the roll?
Councilmember Pavoli?
Here.
Councilmember Jackaruso?
Here.
Councilmember Gray?
Here.
Councilmember Mora? Here. Supervisor Esposito?
Present. Also present is our attorney, Gerard Parisi. Okay, I already called the meeting to order, so privilege of the floor. At every scheduled town board meeting, the public shall have the right to address the town board during the course of the meeting referred to as privilege of the floor. Members of the public should restrict their comments to items of town business, although there is no official time constraint. Speakers should be considerate of others so that all interested members of the public have an opportunity to be heard. There shall be one portion of the meeting dedicated to privilege of the floor. Near the beginning of each meeting, all remarks, questions shall be addressed to the board. No person shall enter into discussion with the person having the floor. Council members may address any comments during the course of the meeting referred to as council member comments. Privilege of the floor is opened up at 7:08. Just state your name.
John Fisher, Musselbeck Road. So I've been corrected. The supervisor was quoted in the Schenectady Gazette as indicating that all the funds that the town would receive from the recent federal CARES Act would be spent on the water district. Is that true?
Well, give your comments and we'll address it after.
Okay. But my comment is that seems a little unfair because the water district covers such a small fraction of the township, and it just it doesn't sit well with me that that's where all the money's going. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sandy, do you have the one of those?
They're right there, the colored pieces of paper.
There's up there is the CARES Act.
Yeah.
On the first page, it'll say what the money can be used for, if you'd like to read it.
I would like to.
It's right there.
I'll take one before I go.
Okay. You want to give me one? No?
I can get it myself. Thank you.
Okay.
The whole thing is the state's telling us what we can spend our money on, that they're giving us.
I'll read it and come back to you with a comment at our next meeting.
Okay, any others?
I'm sorry to have two at the same time, but I don't find very often. The second issue I'd like to bring before the board is we recently have accepted the construction of a rather large solar collection facility, which I support, in case you're wondering. But it seems that the town has made no provisions for the local residents to benefit from this construction. In reading other sites that have approved such arrays around the country, several towns have said that the power collected there should be distributed or should be given first option to the local residents before it's all, I think the way Governor Cuomo put it, shipped downstate where there are large power needs. And I just was wondering what the board had to say on that subject. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any others? state your name.
Richard Daly? Oh, that's what I was saying later. Richard Daly, 1291 Quackenbush Road, Princetown, New York. I have a rather short presentation, sir. Thank you, Board, Council of the Town of Princetown, Supervisors, and the Honorable Louis Esposito. This dissertation I'm about to present has in no way, shape, or form a negatory or negative comments presented towards the New York State Police and their members in the town of Waynesburg, Zone Number 3. We all appreciate their services, especially in this time of crisis. Presentation by myself, a resident of the town of Waynesburg, is strictly one that pertains to the financial constraints that this condition has come to. My three main points, financial and reason, are if the building is sold, then the new owners are now on the tax roll. We are not responsible for it. If and when the building is sold, the town relinquishes all responsibility and liability, and I'm sure it's a lawyer, you know liability. And myself as a private citizen, it seems very feasible and reasonable to me that they're looking for a lot of money for upgrades and stuff like that, which I don't know the finances of the town, but it doesn't seem feasible. Upkeep, and at this time, it seems to me financially imprudent, and I would recommend termination of their lease with appreciation in time and applicable for both parties. Thank you, town board members and New York State Police. These comments are from a private citizen in the town and in no way, shape, or form are anyway unsolicited. And as a personal note, I wish Mr. Cole Nora, my respect and prayers for her father, Nicholas, for his continued good health.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, town board, for your dedication to the town of Princetown and for the betterment of the town. Again, thank you all. Do have a blessed evening and a safe trip home. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others?
Sir, yes, question regarding the solar panels that were mentioned earlier. I
Please state
understand.
your name.
I'm sorry, Mark Wilson, I live on Rannox Corners Road, member of the town, member of the Platicille Fire Department. Regarding the two solar farms, if you will, that are going up. One is on, I believe, Pattersonville, not
160.
Thank you. And then there's one on our road, not Rannox Corners. My question was, back in the late part of the century, wasn't Rannox Corners Road designated a scenic byway? I'm pretty sure it was. And my point being, would putting a solar farm on right within the side of the road take away from the inherent nature of what we all live up here for, which is farmland? That's my question. That's my concern.
I don't have the answer to that, but I can get back to you on
I think when they came and presented to the planning board, that was something that someone on the board was supposed to look into. So that was a question that was raised.
I mean, I don't mind those farms, but when they're right on your front door,
Yeah. No, that was a concern that
you
was
know,
brought
I mean,
up.
it's classic not in my backyard syndrome, but still, just, that was my concern. Thank you.
it. Thank you.
But yeah, that
Thank
is
you all.
being looked into.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Any others?
I'm Joanne Darling, and I live on Rannox Corners Road. I'm a neighbor, but I'm on the opposite side, so the town of Rotterdam. And that solar array is supposed to be directly across the street from us. And my concern is a scenic byway. We moved out there just because of the serenity and the beauty of the place, and I've seen so many solar farms, and it's an atrocious thing to look at. I don't want to walk out my door every morning and see that array of solar panels. Is there a way they can mitigate the effect that it has on destroying the view? And perhaps he could move it further down where it's not directly across from our neighbors, where we all look out on that solar array. So I don't know how to,
They just gave it, no, it's in the works.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna address that in
All
a
right.
few minutes over here. Is there any others?
thank you.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Is there any others? Pardon? No, is there any other comments over here right now? Okay, let me, I usually wait till the end of the meeting, but I know most of you don't want to stay till the end of the meeting. So, let me address this solar. The town of Princetown was never wanted to see solar come to our town. We were forced into this. The state of New York, the state legislators, the governor has pushed this solar, this green arrays, and everything else that they want to do with this. I did not want to have anything to do with it. I fought it all along the line. Our town board did not want to get involved in this. We were forced into this, as all the other towns in upstate New York. If you look, you don't see these farms down there, and I don't call them farms. I think of farms as vegetable,
That's right.
Again.
horses, cows, dairy. That's what I consider farms. And Doug knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. These are not farms to me. These are factories over here. I did not want to see this coming into our town. We were forced into it. We hired an attorney out of Buffalo that specializes in solar. We put in a solar law that was the most restrictive that we could possibly put in. We said we had to have 100 acres. We didn't want to see them put up on 25 acres or 50 acres or spread all over the town. That's why we said 100 acres. Some said we should allow it on 50 acres or 80 acres. We said 100 acres. And the reason we did this, we didn't want to see it spread all over the town and ruin the beauty of the town. Like I said, we were put into this. We do not have a town tax, so we can't do pilots in lieu of taxes. So our attorney suggested that we do a host agreement where the town would be paid in lieu of taxes, because we don't have taxes, a fee for whatever the megawatts are, based on the amount of megawatts it was. We have not received a dime from this yet. We wouldn't receive this $35,000 that we're supposed to get until this goes online after the first year. After 5 years, we have a bond for decommissioning. The town is supposed to review that bond after 5 years to make sure that the inflation rate to decommission this is going to be adequate enough for the decommissioning within 20 to 30 years from now. I'm not going to be around, I'm sure Nicole will be, but most of us won't be, maybe Doug, or maybe maybe Ben, or maybe Gerard, I don't know. But I know I won't be around in 30 years to see this. But this is what the state wants. We did not want this at all. I didn't want it, and I can tell you something else. We put this solar in here, I was a proponent of this, I thought we were gonna be saving money on our electric bills. Nothing could be farther from the truth. We're not saving enough to, make it worth it that we put them in. If I had to do this all over again, I would have said no for what we have out here. Like I said, we were forced into this. We put in the most restrictive law we could possibly put in. The Waynesburg just went through this. A lawsuit was filed against their town, and I don't know why they're filing it against the town when the state is pushing this stuff. The state is giving all of this money to these solar companies to put this into place. It's not costing these companies a dime to do this. When they come in And I asked this question, when they come in, they're getting the money from the state to put this in. They're paying for everything. The building permit, everything is paid for by the state. After they build these things, they're only gonna sell them. The one over here on 160, that place has already been sold and it's not even completed yet, and it's been sold to Goldman Sachs, from what I understand.
They haven't
Wow.
even started.
Well, that's right, they just got their building permit for it. Like I said, I'm not a proponent of this, but we had to do everything we could do to protect the town. We're forced into doing this, we don't have a town tax, so we had to get something from it if they're gonna do it. I don't know what else to say. We passed a law that was the most restrictive. They took this to like I said, to Waynesburg. Some residents over there fought it. They fought it in court and they lost. They have a very restrictive law in place too. I don't know what else to tell anybody. You gotta call your state legislators and you gotta call your governor office and see what he has to say about this, because they're the one, you don't see it in Westchester County, you don't see it in Long Island, you don't see it, they wanted to put up windmills and off of Montauk on the tip of Long Island, and they stopped it. They don't want to look at it, so they shove it down into upstate New York, and this is what they're doing. And they ruin the character of the small towns. But there's nothing that the town board can do to stop this. I mean, I don't know what to say to everybody. Everybody comes back at the town like we want it. This is farther from the truth. Everybody that was here.
We can actually have the zoning that forbids it, okay? But the way the law is written in New York State supersedes local law. And there's a threshold of megawatts. When you reach that threshold, which happens on the 100-acre sites, we have absolutely no say. The state mandates that it must be put through. They don't care whether you want it, don't want it, they really don't care. And these two projects that we're talking about have met that threshold. So now the state dictates to us. Now, having said all that, everybody should understand that over the 30-year period, lifetime of this project, project number 1, for instance, we're looking at $1 million to the taxpayers of the town of Princetown. Now, that's a lot of money. We run the budgets. We don't have a town tax. We know what it costs to run this town. So, trust me when I tell you, you're going to get some benefit out of it. For those of you who unfortunately have to see the thing, I feel sorry for you, but that's why we said you can't do it on 5 acres. Because otherwise you'd have these things popping up. The whole town of Princetown would be nothing but solar farms. So we've done what we can. You're going to get some benefit, but the state ultimately is the arbiter for this.
And if it's over 20 megawatts, we have no say.
No.
In it, zero. The state at Cooksaki fought this. They didn't want this. It was over 20 megawatts. The state just comes in and does this. We're supposed to be a home rule state. Only what they tell us we can be a home rule state. I mean, like I said, we've got a copy of the law. Sandy's got it over here. Did you print up enough copies for anybody that wants it? Do we have a copy? Oh, that's right. I've got a copy over here. Sandy can make a copy of it. The 2 laws that we put into effect, you're more than welcome to have them. We can do this, and we can give them to everybody that wants to see exactly what this law says. We've done everything we could do to protect the town, to mitigate any of these things that we're talking about. Like I said, we didn't want this. We didn't want this. Waynesburg, from what I understand, did not want this. They didn't want to see this. To me, taking farmland and putting these things on is not what farmland was supposed to be for.
It's more industrial.
You know, this is not what it was supposed to be for. Like I said, I think of farms as vegetable, dairy, you know, these type of things. I don't think of it as these factories that are going up over here. And you only see them in upstate New York. If you go down over there and you look outside of Utica, you can run around down the thruway or Route 5 and you look up on a hill over by Watertown, and all you see is them windmills up there. That's all you see up there. You don't see them down around New York or Westchester County or any of these places where these people don't want them. They're out of there, they're shoved up here up in upstate New York. Okay, we'll take a few more questions before we move on.
So thank you for clarifying that. Now I understand what it means when you say you were forced to do it, because it's written into the law at, what is it, 20 meg?
20 minutes.
20 meg.
Anything
So
over 20
is it not written into the law that they also must mitigate the view of it?
Yes, it
for
is.
the-
We have
that
authority
right
over
here.
that.
That's what I just said.
Okay.
Did you, I don't want to take Sandy away from this. Can you go do this and give these out to me?
We do have some authority there, and in fact, in the first project that we did designate a lot of mitigating factors, which they complied with. They're generally very compliant. So,
Because I have a friend
This
who,
is, excuse me, before you go much
Yeah.
farther. Right now, this is out of our hands as far as this. We created the law. This is up to the planning board now. The planning board has sole jurisdiction to follow the law that we put into effect.
so would it help for
Okay,
us
so
to
the
go?
planning board, for as
Yes.
far as visual,
You should.
and it's all written into this, they can say what they mean by visual to mitigate the impact of that solar
Okay.
arrays. Anything with, as far as trees being planted, what has to be done, roads put in, as far as fire, all of this is written, we tied everything up in here that we possibly could tie up in here. And everybody can have a copy of this law that we created. Now it's up to the planning board to follow this law and to do the things that they're supposed to be doing. It's actually, it's out of the town board's hands now. That's all we did was create the law to protect the town as much as we could. It's up to the planning board now to look at all these things that the law says. And we do have someone from the planning board here that she can tell you this. They have discussed this before. It's up to the planning board right now. It's out of our hands. We created the law. That's
Okay.
all we did was create the law. It's up to them to follow it for visual impacts, all of those things that have to be done. But they have to follow what the law says. But they have authority over what the visual impacts would certainly be, because that is in here. And we're getting copies to anybody that wants it over here, that they can have it.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm Joleen's husband. Question, is there any possibility we can have it move it down the hill further? At some parts, it's gonna be close to the road.
So that is completely up to the planning board now as far as the setbacks are concerned.
Yes.
That's not up to the town board now. That's all we did is create the law.
You didn't say
She'll
any
explain-
setbacks,
she'll-
did
If you wanted, if you could give us some insight into this, what the planning board did, could you,
Yeah, that's fine. Jennifer Blessing, by the way. The planning board has looked at their initial plans. They have provided additional information. We are continuing to challenge a variety of different things on it. So it is nowhere near the approval process element of it yet. So at this point, we are taking into consideration all the different things that you've brought up here today. The one thing I will say, though, is the site information that we've been provided, there is a lot of restrictions on where on that 100 acres they can actually place this, because there is so much wet property in
Right.
that area.
Yeah.
So the ability to move it like downhill or closer to the sharp curve on Rennick's Corners and things, those are very wet areas. So it's not feasible for them to put them in there because of the footings that have to occur and things like that. But that being said, we actually challenged them very heavily this last meeting to look at the fact that from Muselbeck or from some of the other roads that are looking out across the valley at it, it is also an eyesore element. So they did propose, they actually gave us pictures of what it would look like in terms of a way that they put something on the chain link fencing so it looks basically like bushes. But to us, it's like, yeah, that's fine on one side, but it's not gonna help when you're looking across the valley at these. So we are preparing additional information, and we are continuing to push back and say, listen, this has gotta be the right move for everybody, so.
Thank you.
That's what I can add at this point.
What's the time frame that we're looking at between now and approval?
It all depends on what they come back with their answers.
This is nowhere near.
This could be a year or two.
You're
could.
talking probably,
A year or two or
I would
more.
say the last one over here was at least a year
It's
before
been at
they,
least 2 years, the last one.
I mean,
The high
this
river.
Starts doing it.
You're talking the High River one.
is
I
not
don't
gonna
remember off the
happen
top
next
of my
month,
head.
the month after, or the month after that. It's just not gonna happen. It just
Okay.
doesn't happen this quick. And then after the planning board is done with it, then the town board has to have do a host agreement with them. And we have to make sure that the decommissioning is in place. And like I said, we have to do this every 5 years. I probably am not gonna be the supervisor in 5 years. I don't know how many other people are on the board are gonna be here in 5 years to keep this update going, to make sure that the decommission is gonna be taking place. As far as I can see, in 30 years, 20 to 30 years, you're gonna have solar junkyards all over upstate New York, as far as what I'm thinking over here in this. Because if anybody knows over here, from day one, these things start losing their efficiency.
That's right.
Solar, the panels,
Deteriorate.
if you ever had these solar lights, you can see the film that goes over.
And it's hazardous waste when it gets done.
And that's,
And if you don't have it, who's gonna clean and mess up?
I agree with Doug 110%.
And that's
I've had
And then
every
run
6
wetlands.
months
Yeah.
sending me letters. I own 60 acres around Briar Creek, and I can show you the paperwork that I've gotten. I burn it, because I don't even want to keep it. They want my place so bad that right around Briar Creek Golf Course, there's 40 acres, they could do whatever 48 acres, they could do.
That's why
All
we
flat
created the
land.
law for 100 acres. That's why we did this. We did everything we could do to protect the town.
And they send it to me from California.
Jeez.
So, we're printing up the two local laws that we did. It's up to the planning board for the visual impacts, the setbacks, how it's supposed to be placed in there. They have to have a public hearing. When it gets down to the end, everybody can come to their public hearing and voice your objections or your opinions or whatever you want to do at that point. But it is a long ways off right now. As a matter of fact, the planning board chair, Carolyn McLean, just informed me that she's not even having a meeting this coming month because they've got nothing on the agenda. So they haven't even come back yet this month with anything. It's a long ways off. This is not gonna happen overnight. So, go ahead, Jennifer.
Sorry, Lou. The question about what the solar company is, I just happen to have access to the email I have on that. It's AC Solar Energy Facility is the parent company, apparently.
AC Energy?
AC
Solar.
Solar Energy Facility.
Where do they out of?
Oh, wait a minute. That's what they're calling that facility. Sorry, I'm not seeing the name of the actual company off the top of my head. Nicole might remember, because she takes the notes on those. Sorry. Okay, continue.
So I suggest that when and if it comes, you're gonna have to go to the planning board. Like I said, and it's out of the town board's hands right now. The planning board has sole control of this right now. Visual impacts, setbacks, roadways going in, whatever else has to be done with it, it's entirely up to them, but they do have to follow the law that the town board created. But as far as, like I said, as far as the visual impacts and all of that, the setbacks, that's up to them at this point. So, go ahead, Lou, before we move on.
You didn't address my question about would local residents be getting a benefit in their electrical bills?
The town board has nothing to do with that. It's up to the county. There is something from the county that these solar arrays are supposed to be putting money back into into your national grid, or national grid.
Freudian.
Yeah, right.
They're supposed to be doing that, but I haven't seen it yet. As far as the town forcing National Grid to do this, we can't do
They're
that.
not gonna put the energy, if you're talking about electricity, they're not gonna distribute that energy locally. That goes back to their grid. It's just as simple as that. We discussed that. They don't do that. But what they do is we have a host agreement. The host agreement that we negotiate, we try to negotiate for close to $1 million over 30 years. So as a taxpayer, as a member of the town, you will get some benefit from that.
You said that already.
Right.
What I'm asking is, you got people that are gonna be sitting right across the street from it, and the money goes, or the electricity goes into the grid, but they're taking electricity out of the grid, and in a lot of towns around the country, the people that are right in the immediate neighborhood get a benefit, that they get a lower electric rate because they're sitting right next to this eyesore.
And that has never been, we just actually talked about the last project, and they never discussed it.
Well, I wouldn't expect them to bring it up, I'd be hoping you would.
Well, actually, we can't force them to do that. You know, the county has got something over there where they're supposed to be lowering our rates. I haven't seen it yet, you know, with what's supposed to be going back into it. And we can't force the power companies to lower our rates. It's just no more than we can force our cable company to lower rates or anything. We get
Other
nothing
towns have
from
done
that.
Do you know any local towns that have that?
Not local, no.
How far away are we?
In the US of A. Look it up online, you can Google it.
But it's outside of New York?
I couldn't tell you if there's any in New York or not. The one that I was reading about was out west, but
Do you remember the name of the town?
I can get you that information. I don't have it off the top of my head.
Dan,
New
maybe
York
aware.
is not gonna give you nothing.
Well,
Go ahead,
if they-
before we
not-
move
don't
on, we're
give
gonna
me
get tied
nothing.
up on this all night now, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, just not to be a difficult person, understanding that my wife and I need to be at the planning board meeting, understood. The specific parcel that is in question on Rhinex Corners Road is the old MacArthur homestead, 330 acres. Obviously, they don't have to go right in this one spot,
Yeah.
understanding that there's still wetlands, but he's got 330 acres. He can put this right along his backyard if he wants. I'm sure he doesn't want to do that, but that's our question is, why does it have to be
Where it's going.
pretty much? Yeah, I mean, he's got 330 acres. And again, obviously, the planning board needs to take that into consideration, and we'll be there. But just for the record, why in our backyard? When it can be down anywhere in that whole beautiful valley, which, again, makes me nauseous, but
No, I understand that, but like I said, this is, that's all the town board did, create the law. We're gonna give you copies of the law, they have to follow it, and it's up to the planning board now to make their decision on where it's gonna be placed, the setbacks, the visual impacts of it, trees to be planted to stop the view, you know, to block the view of it. Just like they did up on 160 when they did this over here. They went all through this, and she can attest to that. Jennifer can attest to that they went through this, what they have to plant shrubs and all of this. So, like I said, the law is here. Nicole's making up the copies for you. You can all have a copy. There's a copy of I forgot what it's called now, from
CARE Act.
the CARES Act. Yeah, they got so many acts over there that throwing money around, printing money like it's.
And the CARES Act, by the way, is very prohibitive. We're very limited as to where we can use that money. Very limited. We can't use it to put a roof on this
Can't use
building.
it for the roof.
We can't use it for
Can't use
anything
it
that we
for-
need.
It's gotta be COVID related, and it has to be COVID related, and I was on a Zoom meeting with our congressman, Paul Tonko, along with Wes Blessing, who's gonna be our new water commissioner, Monday. yesterday, and we talked about this. The money is, one of the specifications for it is for water and sewer. We do not have sewer. We do have water in this town, other on this end of town that we're having an awful big problem with, that it's consuming all of our time. We don't have the money to even keep this system going. We're asking for money from the federal government to help us out with this. I know it doesn't impact people up on the north end of town, but the resources that are going into this, and not that the people in the north end are paying for it, it's only the people in the south end that are paying for it that are hooked up to the water, or have their water lines. We even tried to expand the water system up to Willow Run and the surrounding areas up there. The study came out to be about $7,000 added, $5,000 to $7,000 per household, which is cost prohibitive. Nobody wanted to do that, so that's another problem that the town is enduring right now. But is there any other questions on this before we move on?
Will the town notify the people on the other side of Rennick's Corners Road when the planning board is?
Oh, yes. The planning board meets,
It's the fourth Thursday of every month.
Yeah, but they're not having it this month.
not this month. She can't, if they are gonna have it, leave your name, and Nicole,
Yeah.
she's our secretary at the planning
Okay.
board. And they'll
Thank
notify you.
Thank you.
If something comes up, as of this, at this moment, the planning board chair told me today, who happens to be our court clerk too, has told me today that they're not planning on having a meeting this week, this month, because there's nothing on the agenda.
Okay.
So
But
there is
normally it's
something.
every fourth.
Well, I'm just saying, we just don't want to miss a meeting.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Usually they're posted online too, right on the homepage for Princetown, at the bottom.
But if you leave your name,
It'll list
Okay.
when the dates.
you know, and leave your name here, and then Nicole will have Carol call it, and whoever wants to attend, make sure that there's a meeting, only whoever, you know, call one person, two people, and you can contact whoever you want.
I can put the word out.
Board meeting.
Well, that's the best thing to do is,
Yeah.
you know,
We've been in touch the whole day.
make it. So his question, I think, was where we're using the CARES Act money.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, it's pretty prohibitive.
Yes.
Very prohibitive.
So I think his concern is that it's gonna all be put into the water district, which
Yes.
is
That's
not.
it. That's the state telling you.
Yeah.
You
That's
can
the federal government.
Federal
spend
government.
on water and sewer. You can't put a roof on this building, which we could use that 300,000.
It's only
We're only
200,
getting
it's only,
Well,
by the way, it's
whatever.
only 230 now.
Well,
It
whatever.
was-
And if we didn't have a water, if we didn't have a water system, that $230,000, you might as well throw in a garbage can. Can't touch it.
Well,
Nobody
I
lost,
disagree
nobody
with you
lost
on
their,
that.
nobody lost their jobs, nobody lost, didn't impact, the town hall still stayed open, everybody was working here, we're only part-time, we're only open 3 days a week. Everybody here is part-time, our water department didn't shut down, they came to work, kept the water department running, and they're only part-time. There was no interruption in town business as far as, and nobody was impacted, lost their jobs or whatever. So there's only a limited amount of things, resources that you can use it on. One of them is water and sewer. It's in there, what
The
you can
state
use it.
told you,
Yeah, there's fence.
The feds told us
so feds, whatever.
Hmm.
You can only spend it on that.
that. And
And
then,
if
and
anybody
who knows?
doesn't understand that, it's the federal government and the state. They're telling us where we gotta spend.
We'll talk about it next month. Okay?
I
Happy to
don't
talk
think-
about it next month. It's
Why
not
don't
gonna
you
change.
talk about it
Nothing's
right
gonna
now?
change.
'Cause I'd like
Because
to
I want
hear-
to do some research and see what it can be spent on, besides a water district that serves a small fraction of the town
I
residents.
agree with you 100%. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
Then
I
you're
wish we
amenable if I
I
can come
wish
up
we
with
could-
some other
I wish we
suggestions.
could spend it on building a park next to this, the land that was donated to us. We can't use it on that. I wish we could use it on helping us with our town roads
If-
that we
if you're
still have
looking
to
for
repay. We
suggestions-
can't use it on that. I wish we could use it on
The
a lot of
state,
things,
the
put in a
federal
roof on
government's
over here that
telling
we
you
have
what
to
you
do. We
can
can't
spend
use
it
it on that. It's limited to what we can do. It's gotta be COVID related. or water and sewer.
Give it to your fire departments.
We can.
I know.
I know.
Can't, you know, we're.
I know, I
can't
understand
use it,
those.
And it states in there, you can't use it to lower taxes.
We'll talk
Which
next
is
month.
crazy.
Well, that, yeah, we can discuss it next month. All right, is there anything else?
Thank
I know
you,
we got carried away on this, but,
thank you. No, I just say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for your time on that.
no, anytime. If you would like to talk with us privately about this, or, you know, you're more than welcome to, you know, call any of us. Our numbers are listed in the newsletter. You can call any of us at any time. You know, our cell phones are listed in there, you know, it's not like we don't have cell phones. Everybody's cell phone number is listed in there. So you can call us at any time you want to talk to us, you know, we're not, like, but nobody is here during the day. You know, I just come in and out because everybody is part-time, you know, for what we get. This is not a full-time job by any stretch of the imagination.
And we do have the sheriff's department here tonight, and we had a problem on one of our roads, and within 24 hours, they had a speed monitor up. Did you want to talk about that real quick?
Yes.
12 hours, 12 hours.
Within 12 hours of the complaint, they were there, so we certainly can't ask for better service than that.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, the speed trailer is up within an hour.
There you go.
Nice.
It took longer to hook it up and then transport over there, but, yep, we thank the citizens that were in the meeting that night, that brought that to our attention. What it was vehicles exceeding the posted speed limit of 45 miles an hour. So we set up our speed trailer, which captures all the data. We captured data for the southbound traffic on Pangburn at Ruder Drive from April 13th to May 9th. And we were pretty satisfied. 85% of the 31,000 vehicles that passed by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week were either at 49 miles an hour or below. So we also deployed some message boards for pedestrian safety.
Right.
And we worked with our county partners in the highway department. They're going to put up some permanent watch for pedestrian signs. So we're really taking a proactive approach in that neighborhood. And obviously, we can deploy anywhere within the county, but specifically Princetown.
Notice you folks did very well at that because, first of all, on that road, the big trailers and the trucks come over. And I live on Quackenbush Road, I have to make a turn there, all right? And I go up the road pretty slow because there's no way, I don't have a McLaren sports car, you have to turn onto my road at 45 miles an hour, you know? So, but I'm old and I drive slow anyway. But the fact that now is there's a number of people that walk their dog, a number of people that ride bicycles. In fact, groups of bicycles and stuff, you know, and the school bus is coming down. I mean, God forbid, in a big truck, all right, the laws of physics will say speed, weight, and measurement, all right, take a lot. And the last time I looked, when the school bus with red lights are on, you're supposed to stop. All right, and I have some close relatives and friends that the little kid gets off the bus, all right? So I'm very thankful and glad that you did that because you could really have a catastrophic accident, and that wouldn't be good. And like I said, on a personal level, we appreciate, you know, Sheriff D'Agostino and the dedicated people that we're with, especially during this time of crisis. And it is very, very so good that you're right here. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And we do appreciate your, and especially doing it so quickly, because a lot of the pedestrians
It
were
was
complaining.
there the next morning, I was there and helped him set it up.
Yes, thank you.
And I thank you very much, and we moved it yesterday
Yeah, we're going to capture
over in my yard.
northbound traffic. Yeah, northbound traffic now. And collect that data and speak to that at the next meeting.
Is there any way that you can like they do, like, well, they used to do in Albany, I don't know, I worked there for a number of years, but I'm retired. Is there any way that you can capture a license number and send somebody a ticket in the mail because they're going over the speed limit?
The software and the equipment for that is very costly.
Yeah, very expensive.
Yeah, very expensive.
That's why nobody took them down.
So at this time, no, but there is other ways we can enforce and educate the public over there.
Right.
With our data, we see the
Sure.
speeds and the times of the highest traffic going through that area.
Yeah. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Okay, all right. Anything else before we move on here? We've got a lot to go through here yet. Got to pay our bills.
Mark, is Potterville considered a nonprofit or any of the five?
They're looking to become a commission district right now, but I don't want to speak for them. I'd rather have you speak to Chief Krosky.
Is it considered a nonprofit, any of the
It's
five?
considered a nonprofit, but they're going to go, in the works, as you guys are fully aware, they're going to try to make it a commission district pretty soon.
That would still be a nonprofit?
It's still a nonprofit. Oh, yeah, that's how
Pine
it's.
Grove a nonprofit as well then?
Wesley, Commissioner.
It's Commission District.
So does that
Rotterdam,
mean
it's actually, the Commission District name is Rotterdam Fire District 5.
is that considered a nonprofit though?
It's a government entity. It's a Commission District.
To answer your question, I think we all are at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know how else connected.
The fire department, the men's organization are all not-for-profit, correct? I mean, if Potterville goes with a Commission District, there'll be two different entities. There'll be a fire department and a fire district.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. We'll close the, up at 7:57, I guess. 7:53.
Hold on, for us to leave now, or?
We got to others.
Thank you, folks. I
That's
appreciate
why
it.
we had the discussion early. We know a lot of folks don't like to hang around.
We live in Princetown, Pattersonville for a reason. I mean, it's a nice place to live. That's all. Thank you. Have a good day. We'll see you.
Thank you very much for the quick response.
Anything for you guys?
Yeah, thank you.
And Dave and I did good yesterday. See you later.
Send me that picture.
Anyway.
Wait, I don't. He's up here.
Oh, okay.
Is he?
Oh, I should be.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
It was. Matter of, yeah, matter of, yeah. Yeah. Years. Yeah. You got very lucky.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Dale.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Take care, Mr. Gray. Have a blessed night.
See you later.
Put this hanging up there and
He's the next
Okay.
judge.
All right. Department reports. Highway, Nick Morris Senior. I don't think we have anything from,
No, you said it was.
Water. It's not Collins anymore. Oh, by the way, I would like to thank our water commissioner who retired. He was our water commissioner, helped us out after the passing of George Meade, and his last day was last week. West Blessing is, I'm going to ask the town board, as soon as he gets his, completes his course and gets his license, to appoint West Blessing as our new water commissioner. when he gets his, we can't do it now because he doesn't have his license yet to be the new water commissioner. But that'll be up to the town board, and I don't see any reason why the town board certainly wouldn't want him to be our water commissioner since he's doing most of the work right now. We have to have two licensed operators. We do have Rick. What's his last name again? Rory. Yes, he has a license, and Wesley will be getting his license, so we'll be complying with the state regulations. Let's see if I can find this now. It's this mess over there.
I have mine on here.
I think I can find it. Okay. This is from our water department. This is for April 2021, gallons pumped 2,497,700. Maximum daily usage 282,500. Minimum daily usage 37,400. Daily average 83,300 during the month of April. The second well redeveloped and a new pump and motor installed. The stream was 50% clogged and the well had over 2 feet of sediment built up in the bottom of the screen. It was cleared and now we are pumping 30 gallons a minute more than before. This completes the well redevelopment projects. We had a water main breaks, leaks as follows: April 14th, leak in Darrell Road, booster pump pit. April 22nd, break on Duanesburg Road. April 23rd, break on Muriel Peterson Drive. We also had numerous maintenance projects, including repair pressure reducing valve on Reuter Drive, replacement of the valve box on Normanskill Drive, repair of the plumbing and the Reuter Drive booster pump pit. Since the repairs, the daily average has decreased a significant amount, as the May report should indicate. Water meter readings will begin within the next 2 weeks. I would like to thank the other water department employees for their dedication, Rick, Gene, and Bob. In addition, thanks to Clark Collins for his work over the past 2 years. Respectfully submitted, Wes Blessing. I must add, Wes hit the ground running with this. He learned the system very rapidly, and I'm quite pleased. We had a Zoom meeting with Paul Tonko, our congressman, Monday, and that went very well. We're trying to have some federal money pumped into the system. We're looking at replacing the water lines, starting with Route 7, Pangburn Road, Gifford Church Road, the 3 sections that are the worst. They asked for a report on what it would entail. I talked with our engineer, Doug Cole. He's getting together a report of what the cost would be. The county wants to know what the cost projections would be for him to do this. And our Congressman, Paul Tonko, was very receptive to everything. The meeting lasted a little over an hour. And I just wanted to thank the Congressman for taking the time to speak with us. So we're just going to wait and see what happens. Any questions for on water? Doug? Nicole?
No, only that Paul Tonko was very active in all issues of water on a local and national level, and he was very interested in our particular issues, and it was good to have Wes there to explain the mechanical and engineering problems we've had. So I think he fully understands our problem. There's a chance, we don't know, but there's a chance that he may be able to really intercede on our behalf in a big way. And that would be a wonderful thing, because our water installation was never right from the beginning, and we're paying the price now. So we're hoping, our fingers are crossed, that this is going to work out. And we do thank Congressman Tonko for providing the time that he did.
I'd like to thank the county too for setting up this meeting. They were on the Zoom meeting when we met. There was Tony and Tony Jasinski and another representative from the county that was on there, and a couple other county employees, along with Congressman's staff that was taking notes, and I thought it was a very productive meeting. Let's see what can be done on it. This has been a very, very trying time for the water department. I know it doesn't affect people in the north end, but it certainly, it's taken a toll on the south end, and the amount of money that we're spending on this to try to get everything up and running and keep it running. With all of these water main breaks over here, I don't know how we're gonna do this over here. We're out of money right now. I think we spent $180,000 from year to date. It's a tremendous amount of money, and we still got bills coming in from the last repairs. As a matter of fact, we're gonna have to move some money from our town budget over there and then have to pay it back. It's in here, $25,000 just to keep us going.
It should be noted that not one penny of town money goes to pay for water issues. That's a separate thing. So taxpayers on the north end or whatever, where there's no water, they don't have any liability financially for the water district.
We are gonna have to borrow money from our general fund, put it into the water fund, and then pay it back.
Pay it back.
Pay it back as the new water bills come in, as they read the meters, to pay it back. But with these water main breaks, I mean, it's just, I don't know what else we can do. Okay. Code enforcement. This is for Tom Verini. Total permits 3, permits issued 3. Permit inspection fees collected $130. Building inspections 12. Zoning review 1. Fire inspection 0. Final building inspection 0. Certificate of occupancy compliance 0. Bank deposit $1,437. Check to supervisor $2,000. Checkbook balance as of May 11th, 2021, $178.50. Activities 2001, working on planning and zoning as needed, working on permit final inspection as needed, reviewing plans as needed. Thomas Verini, building inspector. Any questions, discussion? Doug?
Again, we got it right.
Nicole?
No.
Ben? No. Okay. Ben, you're up. Let's go. Tell them the problem we had today.
That was yesterday and today, but Rotterdam police needed assistance once again because they don't have a dog control officer. They had a pit bull running loose on Helderberg and Curry in the traffic. Got there was a lady, had the dog in the back of her car. So we managed to get the dog down, took him downtown to APF, and social media was rolling about it. So the lady found out that that we picked the dog up and took it down to the shelter. So she has to pay all the impound fees in order to get her dog back. So there won't be any financial issue between Rotterdam and us, as there was the last time when we did them a favor. So that's all done and over. Today was a missing dog since Friday at 9 o'clock. Finally got a hold of me this morning about it, and that's up on Currybush Road. So I took a ride up there, looked around a couple of times today, didn't see anything. She's done everything that she can by post on social media. She notified the troopers, I just notified the sheriffs, and we'll just sit and wait and see what happens. Otherwise, it's been quiet up until the last 2 days.
I just might add that, Rotterdam doesn't have a dog control officer, and they keep calling us. Well, this is the second time they called. The first time we waived the fee, but this time we're gonna have to charge them for it, for doing this over here. I don't know, Sandy even pointed out to me today, he says she thought it was a town ordinance or a law from the state that she's supposed to have a dog control officer. I always thought it was.
Yeah, the Ag and Markets law.
Yeah, they know about that. I've already spoken to them. I gave them Elizabeth Holmes' phone number. They can call her. I don't know why they're putting it on the back burner. I don't think it's the police department, because they're the ones that have been fighting to get a dog control officer for for 5 years now. But for some reason, they keep, at the meetings, they just put it on the back burner. So they are trying, and we're just trying to help out.
They don't wanna spend money.
They just, it's not a priority. It's like, you know,
Politics.
go away, kid.
Politics.
And I'm surprised, because the police department, they usually get everything they want over there. But for some reason, they don't want to give them a dog control officer. But like Sandy said, they are supposed to have a DCO, either a police officer acting as a DCO or a DCO, at least one, to enforce the ag market, Article 7.
Well, like I say, we waived the fee the first time just to be neighborly over here, but this time they're gonna have to.
Yeah, if they continue to call.
They're just gonna have to reimburse us for the fees.
I had a question since our attorney is here. You know, should a situation, because that's what they brought up to me is, you know, what if you go, and a lot of times Rotterdam, when they call you, it's a dog that's aggressive. So if you go to, you get a dog that bites you or attacks you, you know, then we could wind up in a legal matter. And I know that you were concerned about that when you first heard about this, when I wasn't here that night. I could see your eyes rolling. I was like, what's going on here? So I don't know if there's something that we could maybe meet with the town or something and just try to resolve it so that they take care of it.
You're talking about when you get called for a dog.
Yeah, I mean, they keep kind of putting us on the spot. It's like, oh, we're in a jam, can you help us out? And, you know, and we don't like to say, you know, I don't mind helping them. And I know Lou, you know, I always call him to get permission before I do it.
From a legal standpoint, the answer is no.
Right.
Not a problem.
Right.
I mean, if you want his help, we should get some, we talked about this last time, get some sort of shared services agreement in place.
Right.
If you're gonna continue to get these calls. You know, because they've provided things for Princetown in the past, for the water employees. You can do a shared services agreement, but you should
Yeah.
definitely get something if this is gonna continue, some sort of.
Well, it seems that that's where it's heading. We didn't want it to go that way, but it's like,
Well,
you
if
know,
they're
every
not gonna
time
hire
something happens, they,
If you're not gonna hire anybody, they're gonna
Right.
end up calling you every time.
right, well, that's what's gonna happen, so we can work that out.
Getting Rotterdam to return a phone call has been difficult in my experience.
Talk to the supervisor in Rotterdam.
If it's gonna continue, otherwise at some point you're just gonna have to say no.
I'll just have to wait at Top's Diner for him.
Because there is liability if you go over the event, if something goes wrong, then we've gotta deal with it.
Yeah,
And it's really their problem.
right. Yeah,
I
that's,
should call them and see if you want to do that.
If it's
Not-
gonna continue, yeah.
Rotterdam's a big town, they really should have somebody. It's a big town, a lot of
they
people.
probably have the second highest amount of crime in the county next to the city. I mean, they should have dog control officers, because it's becoming like, I live in Rotterdam, and it's like an extension of Schenectady. It just keeps getting worse and worse over the years. I've been there 26 years, and it just, you know, and you get a lot of these dogs too, dog issues all the time, all over our neighborhood. But they just don't want to, you know, they just keep pushing it aside.
Any questions for Don? Doug? Nicole? Jim? Okay, thank you, Ben.
All right.
We don't have a report from the judge, we don't have anything from the assessor. Actually, there's nothing going on with the buildings and grounds right now. Oh, yes, there is, but we're gonna get into that. That's on our agenda. Public hearings, any questions for me on buildings and grounds? I don't have anything going on, so. Okay. Public hearings, we have none. Minute meetings, the hereby resolved the meeting minutes of April 13, 2021, regular town board meeting are approved or as amended. Discussion,
Make the motion.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Pavoldi?
Yes.
Councilman Jackaruso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Okay, approval of master service agreement with Victor One IT Solutions. Before we get into this, Jim has been working on this for a new provider for our computer systems. I met with him, but Jim has been handling this we both met with him, but Jim has really been taking the lead on this, and appreciate all of the work he's done on this. We all know we've had problems in the past with our computers, and it's time to move on. And Jim, if you'd like to give us a brief synopsis of what...
Yeah, basically, we're switching IT services for a number of reasons. I really need to have an IT operator that I can reach easily, that you know, is a little bit more responsive to our needs. Not that, you know, we've had on this for years and they do come, but sometimes it's difficult to reach them. And they have to come multiple times. Basically, I interviewed this company. They came here and evaluated our operation. It looks like they're going to provide weekly reports to us. I mean, we haven't even hired these people, and already they're suggesting a lot of things to make us run smoother, safer, and I just think it was time. In addition to all that, it's going to cost us less money, maybe about half as much. So, you know, for all these reasons, we did decide to change. Unfortunately, we need to give our current vendor a 30-day notice, so they will still be in effect until the end of June. But I would like to see our new vendor be in service on June 1st. And the reason for that is that way he can discuss with the old vendor. There's a lot of exchange of information they need to do so that our new vendor is fully up to speed with our IT situation. So, like I said, we've had on this here now for over 15 years, and we hate to get rid of an older vendor, but the consensus was that it's time. So we're moving on, and hopefully this is going to be a lot better for all of us. And like I said, he's already given me a lot of suggestions, and we will, as time goes on, implement most of what he's suggesting. My primary concern, to be honest with you, is redundancy of data, and for the reason for that is because we don't want, if we get into a ransomware situation, I want to make sure our data is available on at least 3 sources. So he understands where I'm coming from. Hopefully this is how it's going to come down.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions first?
Oh, yeah.
Ben, any questions? No? Doug, no questions?
No.
I'm good.
Okay. Was there a second?
Me, I'll second.
Councilman Pavolli?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Laura?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Approval to hire Mr. K's carpet service. Our carpets need to be cleaned. They haven't been done in probably 15 years or longer. I don't know, they maybe have done 5 years after the town hall was built. I think it's time that we painted this room, we're putting a new roof on, and our maintenance man Ben is in the process of painting all of the rest of the offices. So what I'd like to do is have this courtroom cleaned first, and this estimate came from someone that our maintenance man recommended. I think it's a very reasonable price for him to do this. Is there any questions on it? We can do I'm looking at doing the courtroom first, and then doing the rest of the offices as soon as he paints the rest of the offices, which he's going to be in the process of doing. Of course, he's been busy. He does help the water department out from time to time. And he does is mowing the grass, and he's got some work to do in the judge's office. But I think it's time that we start freshening up the building a little bit here. Is there any discussion on this? Doug?
I'm good with it.
Ben? Okay, I'll read the resolution now. Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Princetown hereby approves and authorizes the supervisor directs execute a master's agreement with Victor One IT, oh, that was, we already did that one. Master service agreement, Mr. K service, sorry about that. It is hereby resolved, the supervisor authorizes hire Mr. K's carpet service to clean carpets at town hall at a cost of $270 for the courtroom, $280 for the 7 other rooms. That's very reasonable for 7 other rooms. Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Pavoli?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Town hall hours. As you know, we had the town hall restricted from 10 to 1. Talked with our town clerk Sandy today, and she said, just after the discussion, he said, well, we should open up the town hall a little bit like we used to, and I was suggested from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Wednesday, beginning on May 12th. Is there any discussion on that?
No.
Is there a motion? All in favor of the resolution. The town board approves the town hall doors will be unlocked from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Wednesday, beginning on May 12th, 2021. Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Sandy?
Councilman Pavoli?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Councilman Gray? Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, the resolution passed. General funds claims, hereby resolved, the town board approves claim number 78 through 96 in the amount of $17,905.88. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Sandy?
Councilman Pavoli?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, resolution passed. Hereby resolved, the town board approves claim number 54 through 70 in the amount of $25,757.50. Discussion? Sandy, is this the one for the transfer of the funds?
It's next.
That's not, okay. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Sandy?
Councilman Pavoli?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Interfund transfer, hereby resolved that the town board approves the transfer of $25,000 from account 99509.1 general fund to account number 5031.12 water fund. The reason we're doing this is because the water fund is out of money. And as I stated earlier, we're gonna have to pay that back as they read the meters and the money comes in. Probably won't get the money back until, I would say, when are we reading the meters?
Start next week,
And they have to be paid by
August, or, let's see, September 1st,
September 1st?
I think so. Or,
I think it's July, isn't it?
no,
Oh, they usually go out in the beginning of July.
we usually go out in the beginning of July. So I think it's August 15th or something.
Yeah.
Okay, that's when have to be paid back. Any other discussion?
Just to reiterate, this is not town money going to the water department, it's strictly a loan. We're loaning them $25,000, it will be repaid, so no town monies are going for the water department. I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Pavoli?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Ben, we gotta go off track here because FOA's been asking this question for a long time. Why is it on our videos on the access channel? Could you explain that again?
The access channel, the building's been closed with a COVID. The only time they open it up is on the weekend for the farmer's market. And,
How did they get the video?
well, I used to have to physically take the video.
Yes,
Drop it
you
off
did,
on a
but now that
desk.
you can't get in there, how are they getting it? Because sometimes it's on. You
Is
get
it
to
on,
YouTube.
are you sure it's the recent meetings that are on there?
The only
Or are
one
these
wasn't on.
reruns?
The only one wasn't on is April, has not been on yet. March.
All right, so all the recent ones have been on. All
Right.
right, so they must be pulling them right off of YouTube then. They can download it right off of there. And then they can broadcast it.
But you can't bring them down there.
No, not when they're closed. I mean, they're locked up to the public. You could probably either try to do it digitally, which the way they had it before, it was a different format, which is why I didn't go that route. That's why I just burned it onto a DVD and brought it down to them.
So we have no control of that.
Let me try to call them and see if they're gonna open or what other things we can do, because, I mean, if they're putting them on there, then they must be doing it willfully on their own part, pulling them off of the YouTube channel, because that's the only place it's on.
It's on YouTube, and that's the only
Channel
place it's on.
13, channel 1303.
Right, well, 1303, what I'm saying is that the only way they could get that is to go to the town's YouTube channel and be downloading it,
Must be, that's. what
because that's the only place it exists.
Yeah,
Yeah,
except April hasn't been on yet.
All right, April?
They're still running March.
All right, well, let me call them tomorrow and find out what they're, because all these changes, if they're more relaxed, maybe that they allow you to go down there from now on. And we'll go down and do that monthly, like we used to do.
Well, why not just let them take it off of YouTube?
If they want to, I mean, it seems they've been doing it already, so. But why they didn't do it one particular meeting, I don't know. I have no idea why. I don't have cable myself, so I don't look at public access. So I don't know if they're playing.
Thank you for doing that anyway, because there's a lot of us seniors that enjoy watching
Yeah,
it on.
right.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So you'll check on that?
Yeah, I'll check on that, and we'll have an answer next month. If you chime in.
Thank you, thank you.
Did I answer your question, Ethel?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
I know it's been on different times, and people are asking me about it, and I said, well, then I call you.
Then you called me, and I told you. They got nothing to do with it.
I know it.
Okay, moving on. I just wanted to, before I forgot, highway claims, here is hereby resolved, the town board approves claim number 5 in the amount of $1,800 for tree trimming on Van Patten Road. That's something there that we had to do. I don't understand why we had
Because
to
they
do
were on
that.
town property.
I know, it's a town road, and
They're on town
there is a
property.
cable line going through there, but they refuse to trim the trees there, so. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Pavoldi?
Yes.
Councilman Jack
Yes.
Councilwoman Laura?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Highway transfer is hereby resolved that the town board approved the transfer of $1,800 from account 99019 to account number 5031. Discussion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Sandy?
Councilman Pavoldi?
Yes.
Councilman Jack
Yes.
Councilwoman Laura?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Trust and agency claim is hereby resolved the town board approves claim number 4 through 5 in the amount of $1,410. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
And a second? I'll second it. Sandy?
Councilman Pavoldi?
Yes.
Councilman Jack
Yes.
Councilwoman Laura?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, resolution passed. Okay, council members' comments, discussion. Ben?
So I think we ought to consider what that guy was talking about with the money that Princetown's getting. I know some of it probably has to be allocated to the water department, but there are other things that we can do with the money besides water and sewage. And one of them is nonprofits, and I'm sure the pandemic's been a burden to the fire departments, and that has a broader impact on the community as a whole. than the water department, so, I don't know. Maybe some of that money can be allocated that way, because I'm sure the burden that they're facing has been substantial as well, I would imagine.
Well, I can check on it and see, but after talking with,
Our engineers,
yeah,
seem to think that,
that's
you
where
know,
it came from, is what he said. That's all it can be used for, is the way he read it, but
Yeah, I
I
don't
can
know.
ask, I can probably reach out to the congressman's office, since it's a federal
Yeah,
money, and I can ask, that, I think it's Colleen, Colleen was her name. Colleen.
I mean, you're
Ask
definitely
if,
right that it's limited what we can use it for. It either has to be COVID related, you know, or a health emergency, or the water and sewage. But, you know, if we can.
I'll ask.
Yeah, you know, because you're right, we don't have many ways that we can spend this money. You can't just keep it in the general fund,
No, no, you
so,
can't.
you know.
I wonder if all this rug cleaning would be considered COVID, since we're cleaning,
What's that?
cleaning the rugs, doing all that. I mean,
Well,
who knows?
yeah, I think it would be.
Well, that's what, you know, maybe hand sanitizers, that kind of thing.
Well, so one of the criteria is to pay employees who are performing essential work, and based on all the health regulations, cleaning is essential work.
So we're gonna pay our cleaning lady, you know what that amount is?
We got 230,000, I mean, you're talking about $500, I mean, $1,000, I mean,
Yeah.
the reality is, it's very specific. We can't put the roof on, we can't paint, we can't repair, we can't, you know, and we have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that money is only applied to whatever it's supposed to be applied to, otherwise they're gonna claw it back. They can claw it back, and that's gonna be a bigger problem.
I will call the congressman's office over here and ask specifically what it can be used for.
I mean,
It
even
just
so,
came from our engineer, and I specifically asked him what it could be used for, and the way he read it, he says, the way I'm reading this, it can only be used for that, and Gerard just looked at it too, and, I don't know, do you have any comments on it, Gerard? It's very vague.
I don't think it's very vague, and I don't think, they're just making this up right now as you go along, so I don't think there is really an answer, quite frankly. Whatever you do, probably wanna just run it by the powers that be, to make sure at least they think it's an acceptable use. You know, what the
That's the
trouble
only
is.
thing we can do, is ask, can't ask the state, because they don't know. You
Yeah.
know, they're just gonna get it, you gotta ask the feds over here, and it is the CARES Act, or whatever it's called, in the city. But I'll call and ask.
I mean, part of it can be used to cover revenue losses. I don't know if we've taken a revenue loss.
We didn't have any, do we have any revenue loss, Sandy?
Yeah, I told you this morning, the only thing I could think of was the court.
Yeah, the court didn't operate, but they still collected fines.
Are we getting less of the sales tax? I mean, is that,
No.
yeah, so I mean, because that's one of the things that it can be used for, would be to cover revenue losses, but it doesn't sound like we had any of that. I don't know.
We just don't wanna be caught in a clawback situation where we spend the money, and then they say, well, you know, this was really not qualified.
Yeah,
And then we gotta come back and repay it.
yeah, well, I get that guy's point. I mean, I get how, you know, some of the money should be distributed a little bit more to the whole town versus
What the,
Yeah, that makes sense.
state or the federal government's telling you how you can spend it. So how, I feel sorry for them that they're not getting some. But how can you do it when they're telling you what you could spend it on?
And if we didn't have a water department, the $230,000 would be going in the garbage can, because we couldn't spend it. We could never spend that kind of money. So,
yeah, well, that's my point. That's why if we can give some to the fire departments, why not? I mean,
Oh, if you could, I'd love to do that.
and we, well, we may. That's my point. That's why I was asking if it's a nonprofit. Maybe we can. I don't know. And so
A nonprofit.
they don't make a profit. So I mean,
Have to be listed as a 501c3, not-for-profit organization. None of the fire departments are.
okay. So then that wouldn't work.
Yeah, plus there was no
I didn't hear
negative
that.
economic impact to them, because they don't really spend the funds.
What's that, Lou?
I didn't hear what you said.
in order to be a legal not-for-profit under federal law, you have to be a 501c3. It takes a certain amount of money in order to file for a 501c3 status, and Gerard can probably answer that better than I can.
But you're not, you're not.
There isn't any fire department in the area that I know of up in Rotterdam District 2 in Rotterdam that's a 501c3.
And this is why we have to be very careful where we distribute this money, because I just don't want to make any mistakes.
And you're volunteer, you don't get paid anyway, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, there's no economic impact.
There's no economic impact on them. Because it's a not-for-profit in the sense that it's all donations. The department whatever a department it shall be, whether it's Waynesburg, Pattersonville, everything is operates, the department operates with donations only. The district operates with tax-based funds.
He's probably right on that, then.
Say that again?
He's probably right on that, if you're a nonprofit, and they're all volunteers, what was there was no revenue loss from them?
Yeah, but there still had to be an impact. I mean, the safety supplies, I'm sure cost a little, I don't know. But
They did most everything with any COVID-related equipment was given to us by the county.
yeah.
As was our face masks and hand sanitizers.
Right.
We were given.
Yeah, the county gave us all that.
The county gave us all that.
knocked it over.
So I don't know what else,
Well, actually, it's 1,000 homes. Maybe 2,500 residents.
any other,
It'd be 230, right?
anything else done?
No, I feel for them on the solar as well.
But they do get some benefit from the solar. I mean, they're getting, over a 30-year period, we're gonna collect $1 million for each of these projects. They're gonna get
The
some amount.
town is benefiting.
He's looking for the specific neighbors to get an extra benefit.
The taxpayer, I mean,
The neighbors to the property, he's saying.
if you're a taxpayer, you're gonna receive some benefit
That's not-
by virtue of the fact that money's flowing through town coffers. I mean,
That was, he wanted more for the neighbors.
well, they want more, but that's the way, unfortunately, the way it is.
I do understand where they're coming from.
Oh,
I do.
yeah, I understand it when you put these things in the paper.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't know what we can spend it on over here, you're limited, we don't, there was no impact from the employees, and they're all part-time, they didn't lose their jobs, they didn't, everybody came to work, the 3 days that they're here. Sandy was here every day, Iowa was here every day, the water department was here every day. Nobody didn't show up.
Yeah.
We were here.
I understand.
And as far as the solar goes,
We're probably one of the only towns in New York State that had their meetings from day one, open to the public.
Yeah.
as far as the solar goes, I don't see anybody sitting here in the audience saying, geez, I wish I could have that solar array on every 10 acres so that we could look at them and it looked like a carnival Christmas tree. At least we did that.
Yeah, I know it's restrictive.
We did that, which was the
Well, then
right
once
thing to
people
do.
realize, once they read it, realize how much
Yeah.
it is it
We
actually
did the
is.
best we could do to protect this town.
It's really up to, like I said, it's really up to the planning board now. It's out of our hands. I tried to explain that to them. They called on the phone. They asked me. Carol was here. I went into her office. I said, let's do a conference call. Explained everything to them. That it's out of the town board's hand. That's all we did was create the law. I know you weren't here when we created the law. You weren't here, but that's all we did was create the law, and we tied it up as tight as we possibly could.
Yeah.
And I said, it's up to the planning board now, it's up to them for all of the rest, setbacks, visual impact, roads, fire, whatever. It's all in the law.
Yeah.
Everything is written in there, if you read it, everything is written in there. What the bond has to be, what the cost of that has to be to decommission. The 5 years is supposed to be looked at. Whether the town board in the future is gonna take that up and do it. You know, in 5 years, I'm probably not gonna be here. I don't know if Jim is gonna be doing what, still be on the town board or whatever, or you or anybody else.
Can you be here from Florida? Yeah, possible.
You know, I mean, who knows? But, somebody's gonna have to do it. Okay, anything else? Doug, you got anything? Nicole? Jim?
No, just the fact that we're switching IT, I really felt like I needed personal service. I really need to have a person I can go to. I want weekly reports. I want to be able to evaluate our system on a weekly and monthly basis. And I, be honest with you, I didn't feel like I was getting that. So I think we're making a good move switching. Time will tell.
Oh, there was one thing, Louis, I wanted to say Schenectady County Sheriff's Department putting that thing up here the next morning.
I know
I helped them do it, and I'm very proud of that, and I helped them move it the other day, yesterday, where it's sitting in front of my house.
Yeah, they treat us good.
You know,
Yeah.
They really do.
Well, and they gathered a lot of good data. It's too bad the guy that asked about it last time wasn't here this time, but, yeah.
I do, like I said, I'd like to, I think that is what we should do, is we should get a, Clark retired, but he did say he was gonna come and help out anytime Wes needed him, or the water department needed him. I think that maybe we should, do something, maybe Jimmy could write up a happy retirement or something.
Yeah, we should give them a gift too.
Give him a little gift or something, I don't know if we can do that out of the town coffers, we can't do that, but if
We can take a collection.
Take a collection up or something, give him something for his, because he did come in at a time when we were
Yeah.
in desperate need. You know, I think we should be doing.
Yeah, we can do
something.
something. We can take a personal collection.
Maybe send him and his wife out to dinner or something.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Other than that,
I make the motion.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy?
Councilman Goldie?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo? Councilwoman Moore?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Wes. Jennifer,